And by the way, Dr. Workup, like I said, can't be here. I'll try to answer questions on operations. Like, I know everything goes in the building, but
I said, I think you did fine, don't worry.
Okay.
Okay, how about questions and comments? Or questions? I'm so glad you mentioned geothermal, because it's my understanding that if you were to couple the geothermal system of the medical center with, for example, a school, that would be a cost savings all around, just a comment.
Right, it depends on the school system and what's in place and what we can, but the possibilities are there. We've left it that way. Yeah.
Christine Rayleigh. I'm not familiar with the MC regulations, and I'm wondering what the maximum lot coverage is, the building coverage on there?
25%.
For the building coverage and the lot coverage?
So the maximum lot coverage is 25%, so.
And so, with the there's a medical center zone, maximum lot building coverage 25%, maximum lot coverage 35%.
It's significantly different than the typical RA residential zone. It's closer to the RV residential zone. But it doesn't have the same amount of features as residential zone.
And is the, so this driveway you're adding alongside the parking in the back, is that going to be paved or?
Oh, we're not adding it.
It's already there, right, it's
We're
already there, they're widening it. I'm assuming so that you can get, traffic, two-way traffic.
Well, we can't make it that wide because we have a big piece.
You have a big, building there.
Yeah, there's 37 feet between the buildings, which is fine, but we have a big piece of mechanical equipment that has to be placed next to the building. And that's on the plans. So it will be a lane like it is now, a little bit wider. I think it's going from 10 feet to 12 feet. And that 12 feet is to the edge of the privet, just next to the doctor's house. And it's very effective. If you turn back a little bit, probably shouldn't get off a bit. We'll gain maybe 2 more feet. So it might be as much as 14 feet far. But it'll still feel like a country lane, like you should, back to the Davidson house. And then there's 3 places, there'll be 3 parking places behind the building like there are now, which is part of that. And then there'll be 4 others.
And it's unpaved.
Yes, it's all right.
Underneath.
Yeah, we're trying to keep the character exactly like it is now. We're trying not to overdevelop anything.
And what was the additional stormwater water runoff for the building? How much did it increase?
Well, the actual net gain in elements of square footage, the net gain of footprint is only about 1,000 square feet because we're removing the back piece of the medical center where the lift is. And the new addition is 1,000 square feet basically bigger than that. It kind of wraps around that. And then we're adding the elevator. That's really the only impervious cover we're adding, roof cover. It seems like when you look at the rendering, it seems like it's massive. And it is a big building, but the actual added roof isn't as much as you think.
Anyone else?
Hi, Gail. Can you hear me? I feel like I really just want to put it.
It's on YouTube, that you have to go back.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Hi.
I just have a quick question about, have the neighbors to the west and south have been engaged in the whole process? I'm not sure if there's going to be increased traffic with the back being extended parking and what have you. I just wanted to know. I imagine all neighbors would have an opportunity to send us a letter if they had any concerns, but.
Yeah, so the neighbors who are at the school, they have been in the sense that they've given us a letter that we can park there when school's not in session. So if we need during construction, if we need additional parking, we can park there, and that letter will submit it as well. The neighbors, the parking is actually between the buildings. It's not to the left side of the doctor's house. It's between the 2 buildings, it's actually behind the doctor's house. And there's a big tree there and a garden. It's like an area that's a little bit part of the lane anyway.
Okay, and then I was thinking maybe the helicopter pad may kind of put up a little red flag about whether the neighbors knew that might be a part of the project.
It was actually access, I think, to the existing place where the helicopter would land.
Okay.
That's what
And there's no intention at this time to put a helicopter.
No, yeah,
It's
it's more,
just, it's just to have that option if we ever went back to that. It has happened.
it's the same sense as the geothermal, we want to keep all these, when you try to look forward, we want to keep all the options available.
Right, that's not on the plan, so.
Yeah.
That's not part of the.
You'll see the door, the back exit doors are double doors for that purpose, and you have to rush around that, just like.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just had a few basic ones. Can you hear me? Thanks, the plans look great.
Oh, thanks.
A lot of work you've
It's a
done.
lot of work.
Great.
Group effort.
Well, congratulations. I didn't see any garden plans. Those are coming later.
The landscape, yeah, we'll have the contractors will do the landscape and provide. plans.
Okay. And then on the curbing, we talked about that entrance into the parking lot last time we met.
Yeah,
Is that changing at all on this plan?
yeah, that's we describe where the ambulance entrance is,
Yep.
it's one and the same. So when you drive in to the left,
Uh-huh.
you have to go around an island that has a stone wall, right where the Block Island Medical Center sign is. We're actually cutting that back.
When you first come in near the school or when you,
First come into the school,
Near the
that's the
school.
entrance in.
okay, you're taking that out a
Left
little bit.
side, we're moving it towards the road, we're cutting it back towards the road 8 feet, and we're gonna return the stone wall behind it.
Right, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you fit more spots if they're at an angle, or is this the best way to
No.
do it? This 95
The
degree?
rub with the angle parking is, when you skew it geometrically, they become a lot longer.
Mm-hmm,
It's difficult to make that work.
mm-hmm, okay.
Yeah.
When you mentioned getting rid of the oil tank, is there also a tank for gas there too?
Very small. This is-
Yeah.
I think the gas only serves a hover.
Okay, that'll stay.
That'll stay.
And you're putting in an elevator? It's a new one? There isn't one existing in there?
No, there's a Lula.
Mhm, right, right.
Which doesn't work most of the time.
Most of the time.
If anyone needs a Lula.
Yeah.
Come get it.
I only mention it because the library often comes in front of us when they're discussing their budget. It's just sort of a way of saying, ooh, be aware of the elevator repair issues that exist for the library. It's
Yeah,
difficult to
and
get.
Well, the sad truth is, we have to have an elevator.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm not saying, don't do that, but,
It makes it,
but just for your benefit, chat with the
It's
library.
possible,
They're
but
always,
makes it accessible for.
yeah. No, it's a good thing. I just know that the library suffers
Of course,
waiting for
this should be
maintenance.
a much newer model than what.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think we need to make sure that's understood.
That's true. And then, just curious about the air coming in and out. Are you having this sort of critically clean air, the fresh outdoor air supply coming in and out, or?
It's a very advanced system, it's an air heat chamber.
Yeah,
It's not so big, it's long, it relies
Yeah.
on the air streams crossing.
it looked interesting in the drawings. Not
Yeah.
my wheelhouse. I was just curious.
Oh,
Did
talk
you?
about that all day.
Sure. And water use. I know we talk about this because the town, we've heard from the water company about their strained system.
Right,
And
so
I'm sure you've been in touch with them, but I'm just
Oh,
curious
yeah,
if you
absolutely.
have, yeah.
we, from the very beginning,
Mhm.
yeah, we do have a water pump in the building, so we do, the water pressure is very low. So we're gonna have a fire pump for the fire suppression system, we have a water pump for the water, domestic water system, because we have to bring, within the building, we have to bring the pressure up. And all we're increasing really is, the reason of fire lines, because of the fire service, that's the service line is so much bigger, hopefully we'll never.
Yeah. I think that's all I think that's it. Yep. Oh, the rain, just one more question if I may. The rain garden in the back on the drawing, it's sort of that kidney shape. Are you thinking of keeping that organic shape rather than having what they did at the Block Island 20? It's much more,
I prefer the organic. shape.
I do too. That's why I'm
We'll make
asking.
that part of the landscape design for sure.
Yeah, okay. Yep, that's all I have.
Okay, I've got a couple of quick questions. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, we're gonna ask them anyway. On the lowest level, there's a physical therapy center. Are there two entrances from outside on that lower level? I know there's one by the elevators. Is there also one over on what I would call the right-hand side, or the east side?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm pretty
Right
sure.
past the gym, you go right.
Okay. Okay, I looked at my plans and I wasn't totally sure, and I thought, well, I'll just quick have it clarified, because if you're one end of the building or the other, and there's a fire, I wasn't gonna.
No, that's absolutely a good word.
Okay, I was sure it was, but I thought I did bring it up.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the dorm rooms upstairs, I'm sure there are closets there, but I did not see them.
No, we're doing that with furniture. So each
Okay, so
dorm
they're not
room is gonna have a
closets
suite of a wardrobe, that's full-size bed, chair, missing something. We have a they'll have very nice, big double.
Yeah, I saw that. Those are nice.
If you go upstairs in the medical center, in the conference room, that's the feeling of the room. It has the same form. You've been up in that.
I've been up in that room, yeah.
It's not gonna be as safe as that, but it's nice.
Okay, but there will be somewhere, I can just see the pregnant.
Absolutely. And there's a laundry for the.
Or if they were like my kids, they throw it on the floor and forget it, so.
And then the kitchen, it's a shared.
I saw the kitchen, I know there's a washer and dryer,
It's a living
the living area in the back, and then there's
Little
a
reading room.
decks out that they can go out on. And where are you planning on the parking cars, assuming they may or may not be bringing cars?
Well, they can park in the 3 in the back.
Okay,
We haven't yet had a park there.
I was gonna say, I was making the assumption most of them will not have cars.
Right, that's the assumption. We do account for that in the actual count.
Yes, I
We require
understand.
to have 20 spaces, we have 26, something like that. That's right, 26. Yeah, so we have 26 spaces, which is above.
That's above the requirement.
And we didn't want to overpark the site, and we feel that the,
No, but I did want to make sure there was rooms for the interns, to park in the back, as well as the people who wanted privacy, not parked out front, to be able to park in the
there's
back.
there's 7 spaces.
Okay, that's those are my questions. That's good. Chris, you got anything? No? Okay.
So I just wanted to clarify that my.
Hit your button. Oh, I forgot to get mine. I'm not sure I can be straight at this point. Go ahead.
I'm not using the wardrobes as a closet, is that up to building code for residential areas or are it required wardrobe for building living area? There.
It's like a dorm room, we can fix it to be built in. They're not doors.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure that wasn't an environment.
Right, it's a little different because it's not an institutional use, but it's a like pure house. residential.
I think if anyone can do it's really.
Yeah, we'll get it fixed to the wall, it'll be permanent fixed.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions from the audience or from the town planner?
I'm still, I guess,
Okay,
oh, sorry.
I was calling you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ray, and then we'll come back to Allison.
Yeah, I have two things. First, it's very important to, I mean, most of you back there know, I've been on the island when this was built 32 years ago. And just think of what has happened here in the last 32 years. So it's not only improvements to the existing building in that there were furnishing a new trauma wing, as well as residential wing above it, and a physical therapy facility below it in the basement level, but the whole building will be transformed and brought up to grade, which is as much of a task as adding the additional space. And my other point is, I see the presses here. I think it's really important for the community to know that this is not taxpayer money. This is all going to be, all the money for this will be raised by donations from the community. So that, I know that's not your purview to ponder that, but it's something that we want the community to realize and get behind our efforts there. So, thank you.
Good, thank you, Ray. Allison?
I was just wanting some clarification on the parking. I don't see where this, you're saying it's 26, so one question. There's 3.4 in the back, are those part of this proposal that will be built as part of the project, or are they?
Well, they
Or
started,
is that in the future?
they started out as, we were concerned that you wouldn't want us to have spaces back there. So we said we should show them, we know we need them, and if for some reason there's a dialogue here, we didn't want us to have spaces, we wouldn't do it. But we're perfectly willing to build them, we just have to cut out this portion of grass, reroute, prove it around,
Mhm.
and this will be gravel.
So right now, what does the site currently have for parking? As far as in, not in your
I
plan,
have
but
on, I have on, I have the existing ones. So existing, there's 20 spaces total, there's 16 for the medical center, there's 2 for the Davidson residents and 2 for the doctor's residents right now. Remember, we look at the site as a whole,
yeah, so there's 20 total now.
right, we're adding 6.
Where are the 6 new ones? The 4 potential ones in the back,
And then
We have 2 over there
2
as
2
well.
in front of the
Yes.
doctor. Okay.
I'm wondering how well those would be used. I would think about parking in front of the doctor's home if I were coming there. So I hesitate whether or not you want to do, but that's something you all should discuss again. Because I don't see people driving around that way to park. I do see them driving in the back. I do think we probably will be interested in having you add those 4 parking spaces in the back.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, it's just something to contemplate. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. I'll go back. It was like, oh, here.
The exterior lighting, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, it's
No,
on the.
no, we haven't discussed the exterior lighting at all.
Well, it's gonna be minimal, not there, we're gonna have, there's 4 parking, low level parking lots in the front row place. Not working, 2 of them not doing right. So we're gonna replace those with dark sky compliant lights for the ordinance. So we'll have low level lighting in the parking, we're gonna add, I think it's 2 in the back. No, I'm sorry, we're gonna put 1 on the building to light the back area, and that'll be dark sky. We'll submit with the permit drawings, we'll submit the actual fixture cuts for that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna try to really minimize, believe me, when I do houses, and things like that, I don't sell lights.
Good.
So that's.
We have nice guys that we are extremely proud of.
I know.
So will the building might be on a motion sensor for that for anyone?
I think right now it's on a timer. It's nice to have it on a motion sensor and a timer, so we can turn itself off. Shut off completely, so at a certain time, so say at midnight, you want the lights to go on, well, it disables the motion sensor. So you usually have 2 systems,
So the deer don't turn it on and off.
so the deer don't.
Yes.
Yeah, you hate to have the lights just turn on and stay on.
Yeah.
And then go off. So
Yeah.
you put on the motion sensor
Mhm.
with the timer.
Mhm.
It's awesome.
Jen, did you have any questions, said anything? Okay, fine. Then if there are no further questions, I'll make a motion that the hearing be closed. One last chance, going once, going twice. Okay, all those in favor of closing the hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so thank you very much for the excellent presentation and your patience with all of our questions. We certainly do appreciate your coming and assuring us that you're on the road to success. So thank you very much. Thank you. You're welcome to stay. If you want to speak out, you're welcome to do that too. Okay. FB Management and 212 Walker Street, LLC, Class 6, lots 156 and 157, Water Street, application for administrative subdivision of land on Water Street. Debbie, and I believe you're going to talk to us?
Right now, line between the 2 lots goes on an angle from the corner of the porch, brings it into the corner of the deck outside the fish market. And what we want to do is just straighten the line, so it's a parallel line between the two buildings. And we'll swap.
Yeah.
It's very middle of the back, of course.
I could pick it up speaker read, so thank you very much for doing that.
So there's a dotted line, I don't know if I.
Yes, come up here, Bob.
Yeah, that's fine, all right. There's a dotted line that shows where the current property line is on an angle. It goes from here to here.
Right.
And what we want to do is just make it a straight line so that there's, it's equal difference. So we're trading a triangle here for a triangle there.
Okay. I think that
It makes a lot of sense, because otherwise, you know, the property line goes right to the corner.
Yeah.
At the outside of the.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, okay. Good.
I mean, that's basically all we're trying to do.
Just have one question.
Go right ahead.
So, right here, the line will go along the stairs, and is there a stairway here that's
There's a
stepping, or is there?
there are stairs that go up to the employee housing on the second floor above the street, that's what these stairs are.
I know this one, that one.
They're gonna belong to our lot that we're keeping, and there'll be a license agreement for the Finn's owners, the current Finn's owners, to use those stairs to access the employee housing.
Oh, okay.
That's probably why that one was drawn.
Well, the line had to be drawn at only 3.5 feet in order for there to be an equal swap. You know, it would have been nice to move it over, but then we would have been looking at an administrative subdivision. It would have been a true subdivision, and
That takes a lot more time.
yeah, and it was seeming to be a lot more iffy in terms of success of having the grant.
So these stairs will be, they belong to this building, and then the emergency exit for this building.
Right,
They're going to be on this one.
they're sort of on both lots, the stair, because the stairs start here up top and then come down. But there'll be a separate agreement that grants the new owner of 212 Water Street use of the stairs.
And that will be recorded.
Or recording.
Yeah, that's your area.
There's going to be a licensing agreement that allows the new owners of 212 Water Street certain rights to use portions of the property on 4 Water Street. But it's not, we're not planning on for it.
But it's the emergency exit for this building, so it's pretty critical for that building.
You'll have to
Yeah.
prepare, somebody will have to prepare deeds to be party and transfer these little spaces or things. The license to be included in as part of the deeds.
That'd be an easement, right?
We're trying not to have it, we're trying to avoid these,
Oh.
that's why we're using licensing. We don't want to put these in the property. But perhaps for that emergency exit only, we can, you know, we can, maybe that portion of the 50.
Because if you have an agreement with the present owner,
Right.
I would say you may not necessarily continue that agreement.
Right.
with the new owner.
Mhm.
So if you put it in the deed, that it's permanent, regardless.
License is made personal, you know, you can have an unrecorded license.
Okay.
Want it to be permanent. Serve it.
But, pardon?
This plan won't transfer the real estate, it'll just change the shape of the real estate, so you'll need two deeds from
Right,
yourself to
right,
yourself.
right,
Just transferring those.
right, those two triangles, right, right. We're just waiting for this process to happen first. Right. So I'm a little confused. Are you requiring me to record the licensing?
It sounds to me like we have two options.
You don't have.
You don't have
Okay.
to, vote. I don't think we're gonna require.
Okay.
So, but it does mean that the property transfers to somebody else and this emergency stairs do not, and this building has the emergency access.
Right.
Correct.
That would be correct.
I don't see us denying I don't see us denying.
No, but you may sell your property in the future by.
But I see the not wanting it in the deed mix. I understand that.
Jen, why don't you make a motion for this?
If you've already approved it,
Yes.
then
Okay. I will make a motion to approve the swapping of the, land with the subdivision, the two pieces of property, between, the fence and the building. And do I have a second? Bill seconds. Any further questions or comments?
No.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you very much. Number Holly Grant, plat 6, lot 55, I'm sorry, 56, fire 485, Old Town Road. Request for Mylar to be signed off as the subdivision is not required. Oh, fine, come on.
I'm here because the surveyor could not be here and I'm just here.
Are there any questions? Gail?
Hi, I'm Gail Hall, I don't know if I keep saying that, but I have a question. We have a map of the abutting property. That was a subdivision that was updated again in, I think, just have a photo of it, I think I'm trying to make copies, in July of 2020, where it doesn't show the same southern lot line as this does. The subdivision of your property looks like it has a different southern line. It is shorter in length on the western side, southwest corner, and longer in length on the east than the neighboring subdivision. I'm just not sure.
That's not the purview of the planning board, or that's the purview of the courts, or the neighbors to work it out. Okay, so, what,
If we're approving them, this is for a Mylar.
Yeah, so you're not approving it, you're just authorizing the signature on it for reports.
that's all
Okay.
you're doing.
Very good.
We're not approving this.
Gotcha.
We're approving that there's a Mylar, we checked it, there's nothing that's obviously missing. For example, a building is labeled or something along that line.
Yeah.
And
I don't think we have to do this.
so that's, anything else is the purview of the courts. Okay. Any other questions? Then I take it, you will authorize me to sign this so that I can do that. I'm ready to go for that, Jen? No, okay. So hearing no objections, I will go ahead and run this, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, you're right, we can back up to talk. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. And
Number 4, create and discuss a list of potential zoning ordinance amendments for the planning board to prioritize and schedule for implementation. Potential ordinances to be prioritized include but are not limited to size and massing of residential structures, outside lighting, seasonal employee housing, wetland setback and buffers due to revisions in state law, accessory hotel rooms, and more than 20 implementation actions related to potential zoning amendments listed within the 2016 New Shoreham Comprehensive Plan. Allison, I will happily turn this over to you. Thank you.
So this agenda item came out of, there's been several planning board members and public and the comp plan listing zoning amendments, thoughts on what priorities should be next. So I guess I just wanted to pull all those recommendations together in one place. So list what things the planning board has talked about for different needed zoning amendments or ordinances, and have a discussion with the current board as to which of these should be prioritized that you want to start working on. Are there others that you've thought of recently that you think that are missing from here that you think need some updating or a new regulation? And then there were some things that came from state law changes too, you know, that's always an ongoing thing. So first I can update the planning board that sent over the size and massing, the new recommendations on prohibited levels, and the council did adopt that at their recent meeting. They did add an 18-month sunset provision, knowing that the planning board had talked about this being maybe a two-step process and wanting to send over more amendments to those sections. So that's one thing. So I know that maybe the planning board will want to work on that.
I certainly would like to put that at the top of the list.
The outdoor lighting, I think Mary had mentioned that as something, as I know the previous zoning official and building official, Mark, had mentioned that as being kind of the challenge as far as enforcement, and it's maybe out of date as far as some of the legend pictures, technology, LED, CCT with the color. So that's something that's been raised as a need. There's also been a couple of comments on the recent accessory hotel rooms that was an amendment. But then part of the zone, I think last year. But given some of the more recent discussion about water capacity concerns, I know that was a split decision of the board on that. There's been some recommendations on revisiting that new amendment. And let's see, there's been, I know we talked about this is one of the comp plan too, about zoning for housing for seasonal employees. Like the town's been calling them in, and this is something that in decisions has been mentioned that the board saying we should work on some zoning for that specific type of use. And the state DEM just recently filed, this is something that's been going on for years, so new rules and regulations for freshwater wetlands. So they're looking to bring consistency across the state on some of those buffers and setbacks. And so there's, the town has time, but 18 months, it's going to affect in January. They're giving the town's time to comply, but unless the town gets some sort of approval for a special exemption for specific scientific or special environmental concerns, we would probably need to update the current regulations for wetlands. Some things listed within the WTS section talks about buffers, setbacks from septic systems, and those would no longer be consistent. They would be beyond what the state would allow as far as they don't want to exceed their regulations. And RIAC, this is, the Round Airport Corporation has reached out on some of you have been involved with the comp plan. This was 5 years ago, but that was a requirement to have a comp plan about where we were going to have an airport hazard overlay zoning. and, this is something that the state has recommended going, that's a state law that we do this, that the communities that use the state airport. So, they reached out saying how we are dealing with implementing that. So we may not be the biggest priority from a local perspective, but something I just want to make sure the planning board was aware of that. It's something it is, I've been asking to see where we're at with that, and I've been in communication with RIAC and to get some of the documents from them on the different zones locally, and some model ordinances. And then I just provided the board with I pulled all the implementation. And zoning. Something really cool, and then some zoning ordinances, just to refresh memories. Yes, this all will fold into our update on the status of the comp plan.
Yep.
So I know there's a lot there, but and some of it is actually what's listed, right? The airport, the housing. So some of it's what I just talked about, but there might be others here that make you think, oh yeah, actually that is more important. Let's try to bring that up in the work plan for something more. So, I know there's a lot there, but I just want, I know we've talked about all of these things, but, if the board wanted to discuss it, other things that there, so which ones you want to tackle first? And I can actually, start grabbing those and giving you some.
I see we have three options in general. One, tackle the things that are time sensitive first, because they're gonna be due. Then the other one is the state requirement. And the third will be our own preference, and I might like to throw in there that perhaps we want to tackle the low fruit, hanging fruit first. To put a dent in this list. I also want to recommend that we have some work sessions to get serious on this. And I do have a question about RC1B4, which says determine that conservation style subdivisions should be mandatory for all major subdivisions. Is that in response to my long time ago suggestion that we either require flexible design in major subdivisions or not? Meaning, when in traditional subdivisions, people don't have to have a flex plan, and yet we ask for it, which is a waste of money and time for both parties. Time for us, money for them. I would like to see that put in writing that we don't expect that from our clients. It just makes absolute no sense. Unless we want to move in a direction that we say all major subdivisions will be required to have flex plans only. That's the other option.
Yeah, that might be why it was there, that was 5 years ago, so,
Why not?
I think there were some concerns about that. But it was probably when those were drafted, for us, I forget when that started, but I'm assuming the reason was requiring that type of plan being created for the applicant to see what's possible and in a way encourage that by having to do it and see it and not going the way of making it mandatory. We understand your point of view too.
My last comment is, from my perspective, anything that is sensitive to sea level rise ought to be a priority. Dr. Oppenheimer reminded us that even, first of all, we waited almost 5 years in forming this sea level rise committee. The change in leadership and as town manager, so that the ball got dropped. He explained that it takes sometimes decades for a plan to be implemented. So even if we quote act now, the implementation is way down the road and it's urgent.
Well, my feeling is that all these things have been happening with the plan because they decided upon it, and there's changes to be made in the intended area. That this should be, we should be looking at addressing all of these things.
In theory, you're right. In practice, it's something that you can do and do well, and then move on
Prioritize.
and prioritize. What I don't want to do is scatter our efforts over everything and get nothing done.
Exactly, so, so she said, short term rate, and the housing piece, and then they're talking about the year piece, the longer time. So we can start there, thinking about those, but also the needs.
And
And
maybe
he's also combined, several of these combined.
Also, is the idea we think about this or discuss this now? What the priorities would be?
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
right now, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chris.
Just on process, Social mentioned, scheduling some work sessions. And once a decision is made, all of this goes to, or a decision is made for any amendment, it would go to the town council.
Correct.
My concern, but just a point with just ordinances in general, and I think we'll touch on it when it comes to lighting, is the enforcement end of it. We can make any change we want.
Yes.
A lot of the things we're discussing is because of lack of enforcement, and I've kind of beat this drum in the past, is we can have all these perfect ordinances, but it boils down to the enforcement end of it. You know, HDC goes through the same thing. They do their work, the stuff is enforced. So I don't want us to spin our wheels trying to attain something that isn't attainable especially when it comes to enforcement. And on the broader picture, I would like to at least get the discussion, and this came up maybe a couple of years ago with, I remember at the town council with the beach house discussion, but there was and John Bruning from the water superintendent was present. And at that point, he mentioned the concern with supply. Infrastructure discussion has to happen when it comes to not only water, sewer, electric, just to compare, for lack of a better term, a carrying capacity discussion, because we know how many buildable lots there are left downtown. There was 4 identified at that meeting. And if those 4 were to be developed, and we are to see plans for that, is it sustainable? I would like to have all those answers beforehand, before, because if they aren't sustainable, then we shouldn't be saying you can't approve them. I wanted more of a sustainability discussion based on the experts, meaning the superintendent and Jeff Wright. What can we anticipate down the line? Because we know what we have. They're not making any more land out here. We have finite resources.
So some of that work is being done, that was at the recent council meeting, we talked about that, the infrastructure, the capacity. With the current capacity, if you want to get access, or not, it's a policy discussion, but, a couple studies that are gonna be done with the work, that we're working on one variety, other is there over the winter, and talking about one thing that we talked about, identifying what are all the potential future, current available hookups within the water district, kind of knowing where they're at and evaluating the infrastructure and what are the potential solutions for improving some of the current infrastructure. And then just public education on water saving measures, and then potentially is there a need for new regulations? And I guess there are, because some of the folks that are not being enforced right now, but taking a look at those, maybe or So the conversation is happening, so I know you're saying you want that data before saying, like, for accessory hotel rooms, saying, okay, there's concern about water, we take away that, get rid of that recent amendment, wait till the study's completed next year, then know and have more, like, an answer.
We've got plenty of stuff to work on, so we can postpone a few things until next year, absolutely. Okay, good. You got another one? I let one out, I said the top one is. We never reached closure on developable land calculation. And last time I contacted, and I'm terrible with names, but I contacted them, and they said, oh, we'll be ready last January. What's
The conservation groups, what are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Yeah.
They
They asked for an
that.
extension, and said they would be able last January. Do we, what can we do?
Yeah, I know, it's been a while since we talked about this. So currently, the regulations are inconsistent, and what we do is we have to follow zoning, so that's the current status. Generally, so the conservation regulation. What is their current status? They were pursuing it, but then said they were gonna stop because they were coming to.
I think it's both the major conservancy and the blackout conservancy.
Yeah, I don't know where.
And I don't know where it is, I think it was the blackout conservancy, and they stopped because, for whatever reason, and I don't know, if the people weren't available. People
Yeah.
were available, it wasn't, something wasn't available at time of I don't remember, but they never got back to us. So either they solved their problems or not, I don't know. And I think they would come back to us, I think, and ask for it. So,
I know that at the time, the town council asked for the impact of that change on existing deeds. And that has not been quantified. And that's as far as because I was pretty vocal, I wasn't for it. And that was kind of the data that was requested. I think Andre made that motion, and I don't think it's been provided yet.
I think it was.
Was it?
I think, yes, I think,
But that's a last step.
we were
That's
working on it, but with COVID and Zoom and.
yeah. We had a few other issues.
So I guess that was 2 years.
And I thought they
2
did
years,
address the issue because there was an objection from somebody saying, well, what are the names of these properties? And they said, no, we want to keep that confidential.
I would reach out to Joseph. Yeah, I think they were concerned about publicizing the information.
Yeah. So they do have it, they just don't want to spell the names.
We're providing it in some form.
That we think of something else that we worked on a few years back. We were taking a look at the septic systems. And there was a change in town managers, and that fell on the wayside. We might go back and take a look and see what it was that we were doing on septic systems. It seems to me there was something that didn't meet state standards and we were ready.
Taking care of.
That may have been, I just want to know is social was talking, and I know there's something on the, I listened to the comp plan, but we may need to, that's a long time back.
I think that might have been, Jonathan Will had created a list.
Yes.
Of septic systems that were old galley or.
Yeah.
Yes.
More high-risk areas.
Yeah.
He has a list of them, and the question was, can you mandate new systems for property owners?
And the state was in the process of making some kind of regulation. And I kind of lost track of it.
Yeah, so at this point, I take it that you just, if you're doing major renovation, you have to then have your system suitability test done, and they decide whether you have to upgrade at that time.
So that's moving. Like I said, I don't remember that part, but this, as I said, this just triggered a memory back in my head that we might want to take a look at to see if there's anything we should be doing. I honestly do not know, but somebody will ask.
Homework, that was, my work for
Because I know I have a file on it.
I don't know. Yeah, it was sometime ago. This document has been on, retired for quite a while. Okay, Chris, and then yeah.
What Chris was saying, made me think about, we do have a problem with some of our ordinances. And sometimes it's education and sometimes it's an enforcement issue that we haven't been addressing. And I think that I would like to see the planning board sort of come together and talk about how we could be addressing education and enforcement.
And to avoid, I was saying, this is not just issues, but lawsuits. If we coordinate our ordinances, and so people have better understanding, and have three different versions of doing one thing, we can avoid the lawsuits in the future.
And
Or do the best we can avoid them.
Yeah.
for process, we make a recommendation to change an ordinance, and then how's the zoning fall into this?
So you would make a recommendation to the town council,
Yeah.
they will open hearing and they vote on their adoption or denial.
Okay,
Or they can change it and then adopt.
Right, then the ordinance is there and it's up to the zoning enforcement officer to, and the zoning board to enforce it.
enforce it or adopt it?
No,
No, it's only one to use it.
Okay.
Once it's adopted.
Thank you.
the town council is the only one who can adopt it.
Yeah.
So how do ordinances themselves, the language get updated?
We do
The zoning language.
Amendments to existing ordinances that you recommend, just like the large house ordinance I just did, what's your recommendation?
So was the ordinance changed, the zoning ordinance, or was the special use permit?
What was the ordinance itself?
Okay, and where do we get a copy of that?
And once it's passed, it's available at the town clerk's office, but it'll eventually come out in the ordinance itself.
Okay.
Recodification, yeah.
Well,
I don't have a copy.
of the language.
I'm put online on Clerkbase, have you ever used that?
I find it extremely just torturous. I
Yes.
can't.
Well, that's the other one, and
I'm going in for a lesson. I don't think I have a computer, but that website is.
It's very difficult.
Chalk up that
And difficult to use and
It could be on our list.
It requires a regular basis. And frankly, it's a lot easier to call Jen and ask her. That's her.
I'd like to use your, ask Jen, I'm making equipment installation, because I would have murderous stuff out of the amendments today.
Well, the ordinance is in one section, all the amendments, you go through and like search all the amendments to see what.
The search feature is weird.
Yes, and then you have words like scroll all the way over,
It's very difficult.
Jen, do you know the status of the application? Because I thought that was in the budget.
I asked
every 6 months. Yeah. It's expecting it this year, but
Hmm.
I thought it was happening, it has been, I thought someone was already, it was already a company working on it. Maybe soon.
But I think anything that's time sensitive is prioritized, and that should be on the first work session.
Yeah.
And then the state
And some of
changes as well.
And some of
I don't know
these things are going to require more than one go around.
Yeah.
So
Well, the warehouses,
we need to do that.
So that has to be.
Back to what, and then state that we go into effect, the beginning of 2022, we've obviously got to get it on. So I think what I would do is ask Allison to make a list for us and bring it back next month.
Mm.
And then we can juggle it a little bit if we want to, and then just figure out where and how everybody's schedule is for the fall, and we can schedule several work sessions.
I mean, some of the things on this short-term list, I don't even, I'm just one boy, I'm like agritourism, I'm like, I'm not. it's not
These are
something-
all, your Chris, I'm sure you know, these are also assigned to many others, that could be assigned to the Tourism Council,
Sure.
the Chamber of Commerce, to us, so it isn't.
How many were assigned to the town council?
Probably everything.
Assuming that all of these were assigned to us, no?
These are
No,
assigned, the list is assigned to us, but they are also assigned to other.
As well.
As well, so you can have 5 different organizations or committees working on saying, say, I'll take the,
Yeah, I remember the list.
agriculture. And, you know, it could be, so you said tourism, it could be chamber of commerce, it could be us, it could be.
A nonprofit,
you know,
yeah.
Conservation groups.
It could be a nonprofit, yeah.
So, you know, we don't have to tackle every single thing that's on the list under, the, planning board. We need to tackle the things that are, we feel are the most important and time sensitive.
I think a definition for the employee housing, because it's come up
That's.
several times in the
Yes,
past 2 years.
Yes.
There, with the overlook, with the Coast Guard station, with the Block Island, what is it called now? Block Island House? Beach house.
Health and safety issues.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, health and safety, yeah. there's a lot.
And it's like, it's not listed in the zoning ordinance, that's the town piece of proof and stuff.
We can take it, the definition of the inn, and make
Make it work.
all provision, and it's not intellectually dishonest to do that. There's certain types of people that are living in that inn, it's not.
Mhm.
But it's, I mean, we just need, right, that's, yeah, exactly. And I don't know why we haven't, like, let's just get it done.
It's never been done.
I don't understand why
Right.
that isn't just a matter of going language and passing.
You'll see.
And it looks like the emphasis is on private ownership.
Yeah,
We
Yeah.
define that, and someone sees it, and it could get people's minds spinning.
Yeah.
Some type of private investment that solves a problem for you, because you made it a use code that's a permitted use or special use.
Exactly, that's why I see the importance of having language to be in the books, because to me, if I'm looking at an application where someone's applying for housing for employees, and I live next door, versus an inn where you're accommodating guests coming and going, I'm not sure what all the differences are, but I think there are internal differences, but to me, because there isn't a different use of water consumption necessarily, it's just a matter of forming language, but I'm not sure whose job that is.
Yeah,
That's yours, Allison.
the existing uses that are,
Well, it's
the things that exist now that we know are dormitory style, just, that's kind of what I'm looking at, is let's
Yeah.
make that,
But it can encompass the big picture too.
mhm.
Right, you can think about it in an example way, you want to say, like, okay, this is good employee housing, maybe this is what we want to see, you know.
And we just want to make sure that, we let it where it can go, what might be appropriate for mixed use or downtown area, would not be appropriate for the RA zone. So we need to make sure that somebody who happens to have 3 acres somewhere doesn't decide, well, this will get great for the housing, and it's not in the zone.
yeah, the zoning part of it, absolutely.
You could probably
So,
say
you go.
where inns are allowed.
And so we need to talk about, is that exactly what we want to do, or do we need to tweak it some? So there's, that should definitely go on Allison's list, and we need to talk about some of these things.
And one thing you should think about is right now hotels are prohibited, so you have to have an interior corridor. Or, and you know, you can't have like how overlooks, you can't have that right now, so when you're thinking about the language of the dorms, like.
So we
On
want
that
that.
look, or you,
Yeah, we need to be very careful about that. That's a good topic of discussion.
or you.
Because you do not want a hotel type looking employee housing. Because that doesn't, shall we say, with the look that we've tried hard to develop over the last 20 years.
It goes against our own prohibitions and the ordinance.
And there might be parts of the in ordinance.
Then we could just move one to another. Yeah.
So,
Anyway, what round do we get started?
yeah, so I can start by pulling, what's currently in the ordinance and maybe the example ordinance.
I know,
And
the other thing is,
just posing questions that will
I'd
make
like to
sense.
know what the report's done, maybe some of the other, report areas. Of course, what they do is they said, people will do next town over. It's better than come back.
Yeah, no, I
There's
know,
one more for
I've
us.
looked in the past, it's not so easy to find the same of ordinances, it's like some is keep, keep them through the, the city.
Okay. Does that give you enough to draw up something for us for next time?
Yeah,
Okay.
get started, sending you information on what to do.
Good,
Margie, there's another issue.
sure, but
There's been a lot of talk about zoning enforcement and there's a provision in the existing ordinance that requires zoning officer to be. And that was fine for Mark Tilson forever, but it always hard for the town to replace the building official, and then it's hard to line up the enforcement function with the building function. There's different people, and then there may be the assistants to the building official who do the zoning work, but they're not the ones who can set out the violations. So you might want to consider not having that have to be the building official. Most municipalities have a zoning officer and a building official that are not, that are often the same, but they don't have to be the same. So that if you wanted to divide those functions, it's a little bit of a problem right now. It's a little unclear how that enforcement issue works. And if you want to emphasize enforcement, it's separate that. Right now, the building official and the zoning officer have to be the same person.
No, zoning officer and a zoning enforcement officer.
Yes. That's it's usually the same thing.
Okay, good point. Thank you.
And they're different skills. There's only,
Yeah.
building official knows the building code, zoning people don't even have to know the building code. They're not- they have to know also.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good. Anything else? All right, Matt, what was the question? Yeah, and then you want to move minutes and get us out of here. Okay, yeah.
Just the riot topic. For maintenance, I have not been following meetings of the other riot topics. Do they go hand in hand at all with this zoning hazard overlay?
There's some things that are, again, dependent on that, yeah, like the recent talk, I'm not. A couple of people really talked about it, but there's like a parcel with the money line. For another use, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Is that kind of-
Does that have anything to do with
Nothing.
smoke?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Okay. All right, you have minutes for the, July
14th meeting. Let's take a quick look and see if there is any additions or corrections. I'll make a motion that the minutes for July 14th be approved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Social seconds. Any additions, corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And I make a motion that we adjourn. Do I have a second?
Oh, yes.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you all very much. You guys did a great job. It's wonderful to have you back in person.
Our next meeting, and by the way, I think starts at 4 o'clock in September. So just kind of file that away in your minds.